Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics pre-lockout chat ahead of round 16, the final of the mid-season buys, and the final time for the season. We'll have 3 trades. Safe to say, I've been getting used to these 3 trades, and it's certainly helped me get my team a fair bit better than what it was pre-buys, along with all of us, but we'll back to 2 trades next week and best 22. But I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And joining me are a couple of special guests. The Fantasy Fanatics are all that busy. They'd much rather do other things than spend an hour talking with Bales, talking about fantasy, but it is all good. We've got a couple of special guests, and we do have a couple of regulars. So we've got 2024 runner-up, Coach Pom United, Tom Hales. Tom, mate, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Nice to be here. Seems to be fairly regular now. I'm here on a Friday afternoon chatting some fantasy and looking forward to see if this week can go a bit better than JHF did last night.
Yes, exactly right, mate. We will quickly recap that very, very shortly. But jumping on is another legend from WA as well. Good friend of the show and definitely up there amongst the top few coaches this season. It is good friend Taezer. Taezer, mate, how are you?
Look, I'm doing okay. It's been a tough week coming back from Whitfield captain last week. At least JHF will drop off your scores, whereas Whitfield did not.
Yeah. Oh, you still ended up having a decent week, didn't you? Didn't you still score over 1,800 or something last weok? Or
no, that's Jordy.
I thought you did as well. Okay. Well, what'd you score end up with the Whitfield captain?
1770, something like that.
Okay.
Pretty average.
Yeah. Yeah. But
where
where
if you've gone his average,
my team is that bad. It wasn't much better without Whitfield captain.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said that to Jordy. I was like, Jordy, the fact I only outscored him by like 60 points or not even, and he had a Whitfield captain just shows how good he's going. How poorly I'm going. Yeah, exactly. Where are you ranked now, Taezer? Just obviously last time you were on with us, you were top 100. Obviously, you would have probably slid a tiny bit, but whereabouts are you now?
Yeah. No, I slid to about 320 and live rank after a good start to the round. 218, I think it is, something like that. But we'll see how we go. Just going to grind away to get back up there.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. Still very much in the hunt. But we did have, obviously, a game last night, and it was a bit of mixed results for a lot of people with some big scores and some pretty average scores from a few players. So top of the tree, there were only 2 tons last night, and both exactly on the 120, being Connor Rosie, who's just been an absolute gun this year, particularly when he's been off halfback. Just looks fantastic, and he's going to be, him and Nasai probably going to tussle out to see who's that D1. May Whitfield, when he's back, might be there as well, but those 2 are looking like the 2 at the moment. But the other one that was a bit of a surprise was Miles Bergman. I was doing a watch along, and people in the chat, and I got a few messages, particularly from Jordy as well, saying Ken Hinkley just said he's going to be a dangerous forward and everything. And I'm just like, crap, here we go. I was looping in with Liddy anyway, so it was like, well, I'm holding him. I'm getting my last rookie off field, but the 120 was certainly very nice. But I know a lot of people made the trade of him down to Zach Butters, and 79 points from Butters with a Chincotta tag for a bit of the night, a few unlucky free kicks. That probably in another night that could have been a low ton, but 79 was disappointing, but I still think he'll be fine moving forward. A few sort of non-tag games, I think, coming up for him. Then you've also got Sam Doherty, 93 was good, even though he played on a wing. Who knows if Voss is there next game? That was a pretty tough game for Carlton, so I guess we'll find out, but hopefully Doherty goes back to halfback. Sard got concussion as well. A few of those younger guys didn't really get it done last night back there. So hopefully Doc goes back to halfback because he's. I
just hope he stays in the team.
Yeah,
Doc
exactly. As much as a few of those
horrible.
Who's that?
Doc was horrible. From a football sense, I don't think he hit a target all night. Like,
yeah, no, he definitely hit some targets last night. Definitely saw him hit some targets.
He missed a lot of targets.
He wasn't good, but he wasn't good. But to be fair, no one from Carlton was very good. I think the fact that everyone there was poor, and he's the least of their worries. But I know that Carlton fans keep going up saying
I'm an owner, and I'm severely worried about Doc's place in the side next week.
Oh, at the end of the day, we got. Hopefully you got all your rooks off. I know you do, Tom, but if you've got rooks off and he's dropped or sub or whatever, we've got the trades then, and he's going to be over 900k. So 93 was good, ticks him over that 900k mark. So hopefully he is all good. George Hill as well, 89, a little bit unders, but second high score for Carlton in a low scoring game. It's obviously not great, but it is what it is there. TDK, good matchup, poor score there with a 77. Going down the list here as well. Cooper Law with a 63. I think owners were just praying he got to 60 the way he started the game, but so he got there. Liddy with a 61's okay. Good for cash gen. Hopefully doesn't count to your best 18, but with low numbers for a lot of coaches this week, it might sort of be right around the mark. Hugh Jackson, 60. And then Adam Chera, 59. Not the week that one of the better picks of the season has got to drop his lowest score quite comfortably for the year, 59. Not a good score. 0 marks, just never really got going. And I think he racked up 2 or 3 tackles towards the end of the second quarter. So that could have been a lot worse if not for those few tackles. Even Cripps, poor score, getting the tag from Bergman. And then obviously, Tom, you mentioned it, but Horn Francis with a 37 subbed out. A lot of forward time. So I think if you don't have him, we're not targeting him until we see something from him. And a few of the sort of the rookies put up some poor scores as well, like a Flynn Young was sub, and Billy Wilson didn't really get too much of it after a positive start. But Taezer, who do you have? You said you had a good start to the round. Who did you have from last night's game?
Yeah, so I had Bergman and Rosie, who both did well. I had Doherty, who was a top scorer for Carlton, but, I'm just very concerned that he's going to hold his spot. And it probably doesn't matter whether or not he was the most of their problems or anything like that, because he's 31 and Carlton are going to need to start rebuilding. So those guys get pushed out. So we'll see what happens with that. And I had Liddy, so I avoided some of the big guys, the Jason Horne-Francis, Chera, and even guys like Butters, who got 30 possessions but just didn't get the score. Same with Hewitt, I think, racked up some tackles but didn't quite get the score.
Yeah, exactly. No, good start for you, mate. Tom, I don't know if you had Horne-Francis the way you sort of... No, okay, cool. But who did you have from last night's game?
I had Bergman as well. Kudos with a 91-point second half after going off with a
that was the other thing I forgot to mention. 50-point third quarter it was. 2 goals. Yeah, 91. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He was on 29 at halftime, went off with a bloody nose just before halftime, thought it could have been concussion, very scared. To come back and do that's outrageous. I had Rosie as well. I had Doc, and I had Chera, who I started. And I kind of just got to give him a pass this week. He was horrendous, but Carlton were horrendous, and he's been great for me. So he gets a pass.
You make a good point. Yeah, he's been so good all year, and if you picked him at the start, he's been one of those picks that gets you right in the hunt. If you're having a good year, you probably started with Chera, but not the week. In a week where a lot of people are light on numbers, that one of your better scorers or premiums, if you will, trying to count towards your best 18, he drops a 59. So hopefully a rookie can, maybe it's a McCarthy, maybe it's someone coming late in the rank can pop an 80 or a 90 and sort of get that solid score. Good start as well for me. So I had Bergman and Rosie along with Doherty, and then I had Liddy on my bench looping with Bergman, so obviously taking Bergman's score. Fingers crossed that this is the week I've been wanting for all season, just a good week, top couple of thousand and go up. But I'm not going to take anything for granted, because I know for a fact that one game can change everything. So I'm not going to be counting my chickens until that last game's finished, and then I'll see what my rank is at the end. So good start, but still we have the whole round left to go. We'll quickly go through our trades, captains, and I'll touch on the most traded in now as well, get your boys' thoughts on a couple of those options, and then we will get into your questions. So we will get there very shortly. But Tom, what did you end up doing with your trades this week?
Yeah, so I did. My main downgrade was Angus Clark down to McCarthy, to get Will Ashcroft up to Dawson. I didn't want to go against Dawson for the rest of the year. I think he's going to be a top 3 mid, so I think I should need to get him, especially with with Richmond this week. And I sideways Whitfield to Josh Dacos. The Chera score means I'm definitely doing that as well. I need the extra body this week.
Yeah, no, I do like the Josh Dacos in as well. And I think that Clark to McCarthy is probably the number one trade this week. I think that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. Taezer, I think you're doing that trade as well. What are your 3 trades this week?
So I've got Angus Clark going down to Tom McCarthy. And then the next trades, I'm hoping to have clarity by the time we hit lockout. I'd spent earlier in the week with Mills coming in for Whitfield, which gave me enough cash to send Kai Lohman up to Rowan Marshall. But seeing that Freo's playing 2 rucks, I'm not confident I'm going to get a ceiling score out of him. And so I can always wait a week with him, which has me pivoting. And at this stage, I'm looking like I'm going to bring in Josh Dacos for Whitfield and Jack McRae for Kyle Lohmann.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I know you're looking at Mills and Marshall, but I like McRae. I think he's a good option. I think a lot of people have been debating Darcy versus McRae. I don't know where you boys are on that. I'm on the McRae side of thing. I know Darcy might play well tonight with no McCartan, is what we're hearing. Apparently, he might have a bit of gastro or something like that, so might not play. But I feel safer with McRae with that midfield role. Would you boys agree with that?
Yeah, just being around it.
Yeah, cool. There we go. All in favour of Jack McRae there. My trades this week, another one of those weeks, which is nice. Trades settled pretty early in the week, so no stressing, no messaging 50,000 people. What should I do? So Clark to McCarthy is the trade that's locked in, like all of us are doing. Went Johnson to Liddy. I was 5K short of doing Boxall to Liddy instead to get these trades done. So I just thought, well, I just want these trades done. Last rookie off the field. And then Finn O'Sullivan, thank you for your service. Been really good last few weeks, getting some decent scores. A couple of them counted as well. And then bringing in Callum Mills to get my last rookie off field. So feels good to have a completed team. And my team value, as Liam said, is finally inside the top 10,000 and starting to get a little bit of money, which is nice after struggling in that department. Well, struggling in every department all season, but good to see some positivity going around. In terms of the top sort of traded ins and outs of the week, obviously I go through these on Trade Talk, but just thought we quickly touch on the top 5 for each. So you've got McCarthy, clear number 1, 23.5K jumped on him. He's the must-have. Manny Liddy as well. A lot of people went there last night, 17.4K. If you already had McCarthy or doing the 2 downgrades, they were the 2 to get. Callum Mills, the number 1 option, 16, just under 16K, 15.9K jumping on him this week. Tom, your thoughts on Callum Mills as an option? Obviously plays tonight, and I guess Florent and Lloyd are back in for you guys. Is there maybe some midfield time there? But even still, if it's mid or defence, do you still like him to pick?
I think priced at 80, I don't think you can go wrong. I didn't see him as a must get. I kind of want to see another week, which he only went 90 last week. His break even's not ridiculous. If I think he's going to be a must get, I can get him next week. So I think it's a great trade in. He's got a proven record. I do worry if he's in defence what his ceiling is, but yeah, I think he's priced at 80 for Callum Mills. It's a great bring in.
Yeah, breaking to 63. I'm not going to get away from him if you don't get him this week. But if he's like I think Guesty said it on Sunday, if he's the guy you can get last rookie off field, it's a good move. Taezer, your thoughts on Mills? Because I know you said that you're obviously going, you're thinking about him, but you messaged me before saying that you sort of wonder what that role does look like with a few changes. What are your thoughts with Callum Mills?
Yeah, I still like him as a player. I think he's a really good straight bat option. Almost guaranteed to make some money, and he'll be a good pick. I'm just looking for a bit more ceiling, so I'm going to go for Josh Dacos, who priced at I think he's 94 or something like that.
He's a bit more now. I think it's like 98, but still.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Still like priced.
Yeah, I think he's value. I think he's got some good matchups coming, and his break even makes me think that if he can get a ceiling game versus West Coast, he's going to go up the same amount as Callum Mills. And in a best 18 week, I think that's more valuable. Rather than getting a 95 off Mills, I might be able to get a 110, 115 off Dacos. Fingers crossed.
Yep, I like it. Yep, I'm a fan of Josh Dacos as an option. Charlie West is there as the 4th most traded in. I think people just looking for that basement forward rookie. I went for Alga last week. Which, by the way, did hold his spot, which was nice. A few guys got dropped, and I'm hoping that the few guys have cut. I think Lafau's in long-term injury. Jacob Blight, they got a few taller guys. Hoping one of those guys is sub. They give Alga a full game because I don't know about you guys. I've said this before. I'm not going to go on a rant about this. I did it on the watch long, but I don't like when coaches put debutants as a sub. I just think it should be a rule that or not a rule, just an unspoken rule. Just don't put debutants as a sub. Give them a fair crack as a game. They can be sub second game, third game, whatever. But first game, come on, guys. What are we doing? And yes, I'm saying that selfishly because I brought in Alga last week, but who cares about that? It's about the general rule. I think it's fine. And then Billy Wilson was the fifth most traded. Obviously disappointing. Going to happen with him. Then you got Darcy, Jackson, Nasiah, Bont, and Dawson are the sort of 6 through 10. Just outside, I think all those are good options, respectively. But Taze, obviously, you're the Freo man with Darcy coming back in for Freo. We saw this role with the two of them pre-buy, where it was number one clearly was Jackson, and then Darcy played about that mid 50% game time would come in. Jackson would then be a mid. Do you still see that as the same sort of role this week?
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Darcy will have less than 60% game time. There's a high chance he gets subbed out in the third quarter if there's no injuries and if everything's kind of going to plan. And Luke Jackson will probably have a mix of about 50% ruck time, maybe 20% forward time, and 25% in the midfield. That's what it looked like in the other games. And I think JL actually said in the press conference that it would look pretty similar to how it looked in the Gold Coast and North games.
Yeah.
It worked. That's the issue.
Yeah.
It worked. Exactly. From a fan, I'm not a Freo fan either, but from a fantasy point of view, it really worked for Freo. So, of course, they're going to do it. And they might rest Darcy against some of the smaller rucks. Marshall is the one they're going to want to double team, especially because he was playing by himself. So, it's going to happen.
Yeah. I think it just takes his ceiling a little bit. He'll probably still be solid. He's probably still 90 to 105 maybe is very achievable. But I think it takes that ceiling away. There's very little chance of him having a real big game.
Yeah, I think for those coaches still got him, it's fine. Like the only two games he's gone below 90 this year was one where he had an injury against the Dogs when he went off early, but he was on track for a ton anyway. And then the other one was, I think it was his first game back from injury or something, had low game time as well in that one. They're the only two games. Besides that, he's gone over 90 every game. But Taser, with this, because he's near $1 million, for people that are looking at him, is this just enough to go, I'll go Jack McRae instead?
I think so, yeah. I think that with that ceiling gone, the one thing I would say is that he's gonna keep scoring around this 90, between 90 and 100, probably for the rest of the season. And any game that Sean Darcy gets rested, he's got a chance to score a lot more. So I still think he'll be right up there. And if you want to lock a top, top 5 forward, I think that probably still makes sense. But there's definitely value around in someone like McRae, for sure. Yeah,
exactly. Tom Lai, congrats on 4K subs. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciated. Yes, obviously, you congratulate on us, but it's obviously thanks to all you legends out there for subscribing and tuning into the channel and showing your support. So me and all the legends at Fantasy Fanatics do appreciate all the support you guys showed, but we're not stopping. We're not stopping. The train is still going forward. We're going to 5K now. So about 960 something away, 908, 970 something or whatever. So we're still a bit away from 5K. If you haven't subscribed or if you aren't sure, check if you subscribe, click subscribe button, and let's try and get to 5K. And then Jesse as well saying, finally catching a live one. So shout out to Jesse, who's part of the Content Fantasy Footy podcast. I know Vam's jumped on there early this week. Really good listen as well. So if you guys want to check one of the new podcasts out there, then it's more the merrier, I say, with more content. Gives me more stuff to listen to, which I do like. So shout out to you, Jesse, and thanks for tuning in. And then Tom will just sort of quickly touch on, so obviously Darcy was there. Obviously, I think Nasiah, Dawson, we know, just if you can get Nasiah, Dawson, great. But I want your thoughts quickly on Bont and Darcy as two options. Obviously, Bont against Sydney this week. A few people think he'll get tagged. I think more that I don't know if he will necessarily. I think Rowbottom goes to Ed Richards. I think they did that last year, and then Day will get the Jordan tag, and meaning Bont is a little bit more freer, but who's to say Bont could get tagged? But your thoughts on Bont and then Darcy?
Bont's under $1 million. He's a great pick. Like, if I had an extra defender, I probably would go Bont over Josh Dacos. I just think Bont's a walk-up top 8. He's damaging wherever he plays on the ground. Sam Darcy, it's probably really wrong that I'm really scared of it. I'm just scared. Like, I think he's got a 50 in his future. It's just when that 50 is. If a defender has a good game against him, he's gonna fail to score. But he is that good. It's how often that is. If you look at some of the good key forwards over the years, they've all, like Charlie Curnow, he has great weeks where he scores tons, like even tons in a row. But then if he doesn't kick goals, then he's not going to score. So I don't mind the Darcy pick, but he's getting quite expensive, and he doesn't play Richmond every week.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the big thing for me. Like, I still think he's a solid enough option, but you're missing the Richmond matchup from last week, and you're going into Sydney. Then I think they've got North Melbourne, which is good, but then Adelaide, and then I think they might have...
Toby Pink, he's shutting everyone down now.
Yeah, Pinky. Yep, exactly. Then they've got Adelaide. Then I think Brisbane might be after as well. So a couple of tougher matchups.
Adelaide is a red for key forward matchup. They've got a million tolls. You can all take it. And they can double. Like, it's tough, but he's a great pick. He's a great player. I'm not as keen as some others.
Yeah. And then we got a comment here from Matty T. So, hey, Buzz, can you please plug the Weekend Wash Up, guys? Another good podcast there as well. Obviously, very familiar with Matty Craig's work as the Weekend Wash Up. Remember reading a heap of the articles and still do on the DT Talk website. So, another great podcast. Plenty of good podcasts out there. So, if you haven't tuned into a couple back half of the year, maybe tune into a couple. See, obviously, they're all great content. So, pick some ones that you really like and give them a listen, because there's plenty of really, really good content out there. And Weekend Wash Up, Fantasy Jesse from the New Year podcast there as well. So make sure you guys check all of those out as well. Most trade out players as well: Angus Clark, Zach Merritt, Lockie Whitfield, Zach Johnson, Levi Ashcroft, Isaac Kako. The top six all on bye this week, along with Boxhill, who's not in the team. Bice, who got dropped. Who knows if he comes as a late in, maybe. I think Buller will come in for McCartan if he's a laid out, but who knows if they decide to bring another guy in. Then you got like Ashcroft and Lyman, and then you got Martin Holmes, which I'd advise against trading those two. But your thoughts, obviously, Taser, you're trading Lockie Whitfield. For coaches that aren't heavy on the buy, is he still a hold for you, or do you think it would be something that you'd trade just with the fact that he may miss the game against West Coast?
Yeah, I think there's a big chance he misses that game. So he's had the concussion history. It's right on 12 days. So this is it is literally the earliest opportunity he would have had to play. And it's also this is just reading the tea leaves. It's his 250th game. So it kind of made me think, are they going to fly him over to Perth off 12 days concussion break to play his 250th in front of a kind of opposition crowd? Or do they ask him to hold back one more week and kind of celebrate him at home? And I just thought that made more sense to me. So with that risk, and he's not going to get away from me, even if he has even if he does play and have a big game, he's pretty achievable. And there's even the possibility that next week if I need an upgrade, I could probably get someone like Doherty to Whitfield, by scrapping a bench rookie.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like 20K, if that, from Captaincy to Whitfield.
Yeah.
So one thing I would also say, I would trade if you've definitely got stuff to do next week. If your last upgrade you plan to do next week, I'd get rid of him this week, because you probably won't have the ability to do it next week. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that the big sort of indicator that there's a chance he misses was that Giants list him as 1 to 2 weeks. They didn't list him as 1 week. If it was just 1 week on the injury report, I would have said, cool, that sounds like they're pretty confident. But the fact they gave it 1 to 2, they've left the door open, which would be enough, as you say, if you need to do the upgrade next week, or if you need you need him and it will sort of stuff up your plans next week. I would jump off this week, because he's got West Coast. It is over there. West Coast don't give up a huge amount of points to defenders at Optus particularly, and you can get in the week after or a couple of weeks after for a lot cheaper. So I'm happy trading as well. My captains for round 16, so we'll jump in these quickly as well. So I think the top two are fairly obvious this week. So I've got number 1, Jordan Dawson. against Richmond at the G. Not only Richmond a great matchup as well, but Jordan Dawson loves playing at the MCG. 134, 138 at his 2 games there this year, including a 124 against Richmond last year. Obviously, they're easy to score this year. I think it's a good option, a good captain on the Sunday. Slight flag that if Crows are up by a bit, he may go forward. But in saying that, good match. I think he might even kick a couple of goals if he's up forward. So I think Dawson is in for a good game. Number 2, I've got Nick Dacos against West Coast at Marvel. Obviously, West Coast, good matchup. I do think Brady Hoff will run around with him and do a bit of a tagging job. Maybe Jack Graham does some things as well if Hoff isn't going to get done. So I've got a couple of guys there that could do the job, but has turned up in all 3 of his games against West Coast. Over, I think his last scores are 114 against them, 131 against them last year. I think he goes well again. I've got Darcy Cameron at number 3. So anyone that's got him out there and wants to go a bit unique this week and avoid maybe the Dacos tag and go into Dawson, I do like Darcy Cameron against West Coast. I think he'll go really well, been in really good form. Got Tristan Cherry at number 4. I think he bounces back here. 109, 126 his last 2 against Hawthorn. And I just think this is a game down at UTAS where he can actually rack up the tackles. It'll be a highly contested game, I think. So I think he'll put up a good score. And Hawthorn have been pretty good for rucks as of late. And I've got Noah Anderson rounding out my top 5 against Melbourne. Particularly if he doesn't get any attention, his last 3 against Melbourne, 117, 118, and 132. So really good scores there. Had a great game against GWS last week. So interesting to see if they decide to run with him or a Matt Rao, or don't worry about that. Then 6 through 10, I've got Brody Grundy against English. Good matchup for him. He's been in great form. I think he goes really well. I do have Ron Marshall at number 7, but obviously with Darcy, I haven't had time to adjust that there. But I would say that he'll probably slide down a couple of spots maybe. Maybe I've got Nasiah probably at number 7 ahead of him. And then I have Marshall at 8. I think Nasiah goes well along with Marshall. Nasiah could have like a Wagner run with him, but I just don't think he's going to be able to go with him too well. I do have Tim English there just with the form that he's been in at number 9 against Grundy. Tougher matchup, but if you want to have a VC crack at him, I don't mind that. And I did have TDK at number 10 bumping at Andrew Brayshaw just with the Port matchup. But now, after seeing that game last night, I wish I didn't end up doing that. I just wonder how Brayshaw's going to go. I don't think he'll get the tag, but he has struggled against St Kilda in his last couple. So that would be interesting to see how he goes. Don't also mind Bont, Sheasel, Dacos as well that just missed outside of my top 10. Hey?
The whole AFL. I just said the whole. You don't mind the whole AFL. They're all going to do all right.
Yeah, don't mind how many players that there are in the AFL.
One thing I will say going forward about last thing on last night, Jordan Sweet's got a lot more of the ruck than Vicentini.
Oh, Vicentini would be. I'd be shocked if Vicentini's not on a holiday. Obviously, hit Sard and concussion.
My point being, Sweet is much harder than Vicentini, so Port might not be as easy going forward looking at ruck matchups.
Yeah, agreed. I'm actually just seeing here. Did Vicentini get a game? Got the.
Don't know.
He did not get any suspension. That is a joke. That is a joke.
Wow.
That is wild. That's wild that he goes off in concussion. And they'll say because he's a tall guy and Sard's so short, but still, you chose to bump. He got knocked. He got concussed. That's ridiculous. But anyway, it doesn't really matter anyway. It's not a big deal. But Captain's Taezer, what are you doing with your VC and C this week?
I think I'm going to play a straight bat. Go with Nick Dacos into Jordan Dawson.
Yep. I'm the exact same there as well. Tom, are you doing that as well?
I'm currently on that. I might have a dabble with Cherry into Dawson. The Eagles have come out and basically said Brody Hoff is running with Dacos. So does that cap his ceiling going into Jordan Dawson? I think it's going to be ridiculous. Yeah. It's one of those. Am I reaching for a ceiling with Cherry, or pretty safe 110 with Dacos with a tag?
Yeah. The other one I don't actually mind. I have thought about it. Is going Jordan Dawson VC into Nasiah in the final game.
I don't have Nasiah though.
Yeah, that was the other. Oh yeah, I was just saying that was something I was considering as well. Right. I was also looking at the Cherry one as well, like going Cherry something different. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the straight bat one this week. But yeah, I don't mind it though, because if he's going to get tagged, then yeah, for sure. Now let's get into your question. So if you guys do have a question, chuck it at the bottom of the chat and we can go from there. And if we do run out, then we can go back up to some of the ones at the top there. But if you guys have got a question, chuck it in live chat and we'll answer as many of those as we can. We'll buy watch song tonight, Bales. Yep, we've got a watch song for Bonds 250 tonight. Sydney and Bulldogs. I'll be starting that at about 7:30 Eastern. So for any legends that are tuning in here, we've got well over 100 people tuning in. If you want to go over to the watch song after, it should be some good fun. Sean says he's got a question about next week, Tom. He's saying, is Chera or Doherty a trade-out priority over getting both May and Rowson, or would you go someone down to Rowson and then go one of Chera or Doherty up?
Well, May and Ralston aren't both priorities next week. One of them probably is your downgrade. It's probably the best two downgrade options, but certainly don't want both. I don't think you should be getting a rookie on the bye, purely because Essendon have got players coming back and GWS are just a strong side. I think you're tempting fate getting rookies early. So yeah, what was the other part of that question? Sorry,
he was just saying, is the priority going one of Chera or Doherty out instead of getting both of them, or going one of each?
If Doherty plays, right? Doherty's not a trade. Doherty's not a trade if he plays, and I don't think Chera is I think Chera is a different one because it's two really tough matchups and a high break even. I think it's Collingwood into Brisbane.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation around, but I don't think either are priority trades next week if they're both named.
Yeah.
They can be traded. But yeah.
I'd just say a factor that comes in with Chera is he's really highly owned. I think he's 80% in the top 100. So depending where you're ranked, that's a good way to differentiate yourself. I had a stinker of a week last week, but I don't have Chera this week, which is maybe gonna help me. So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, no, good shout there. And I guess Chera doesn't have that 130, 140 ceiling, or he hasn't shown it at least this year. So if you trade off of him, you might be able to get a guy that might have that ceiling, pop a good score, it might help you rise up the ranks. Aiden is saying Mills positioned on the wing. Any concerns? I don't think for us. He was named on a wing last week and he played half back. So I think they just. I don't know about you boys. I don't really read much in team sheets at all. Like sometimes I look at saying, okay, that was interesting. Like if I hear, for example, shout, as I said on the Hat Chat live, shout to a few of the guys in League 6. They said that from what they heard, got some sources there that they heard that Hollands is going to play a bit of midfield, and then he was named in the midfield on team sheets. That pricks my ears up a little bit and go, okay, well that's two sort of things put together. And then he played mid for a bit last night. Didn't really work, but that's where I normally look at team sheets is like if I hear something and then look at the team sheets and that's happened. Like Colby's named on a half forward flank every week, but he plays half back. Sheasel's named in the midfield. He plays the forward roaming up. So I don't really read into too much of the team sheets personally. Moonboy says he's going English VC into Brayshaw to be different. Don't mind those two. I think they can both have very good weeks. He does say every man his dog is going Dacos into Dawson, though. That is a good point. Yes, everyone will be going there. So Paulie29 has got another one for next week saying, if you have 850K for a mid forward next week, who do you look at? I think that's a better one to answer next week. We'll see how Dylan Moore goes. We'll see how Darcy goes. We'll see how some of these other options go. But Paulie asked us on Sunday night. We might or Tuesday night, and we'll be able to give you a good answer there. But plenty of games in the round to look at before that one. Crinkly Cut Taser is asking about, hey guys, should I go McRae and McKercher, leaving me with 0K in the bank, or should I go Darcy, Rankin, or Moore, so one of those three, and Mills, which leaves me with a little more cash?
I think I like the cash gen and points of McKercher, and then the fact that he's going to be a clear top 6 forward in McRae. That's the one I'm going for.
I agree with that one. I'd go McKercher and McRae as well. You can get Mills next week, and one of the other guys potentially next week as well. Ankle Bully is saying, take the Rosie VC or trust Dawson with the C.
Oh, Rosie.
I don't know about you boys. I'm more safer when it comes to VCs. I'm 120. It's okay. You'd much rather 140, 150, right? But 120, I think you're banking that. You boys agreeing with that as well?
I would have killed to be able to take 120 last week, so take it from me.
I think that's it.
over the last 18 months of having some really, really good captain options, we don't have really, really good captain options anymore. Maybe apart from a Gorn in a good matchup. Like last year, it was just you go in Cherry and Marshall at the end of the year, whichever order. Like that was just your VCC. This year, like maybe Baz, but even he went to 94 last week. 120 is an elite captain score, even if you take it and you're only losing 15, 20 points. If Dawson goes 135, like which is an amazing score, like bank it and run.
Yeah.
And as we saw with Whitfield last week, right? Nothing's guaranteed in fantasy, which is a cruel game we play as well. But just people go, oh, but I didn't take a 120 from this person, but the other person I went with's got a 140. But I'm like, okay, you gained 20 points. That's once. But how about the other 6 times you've taken it on? Has that bit you or whatever? So I'm 110. I always like 110. If I get anything over 110, I'm like, I would rather my other players all go 150 and I'll lose at 40 points than get a player, even like a Baz gets a 94, which we thought he was going to go big again, and you're losing points. So, I'm taking the 120. And as I said, what if Dawson rests forward and just scores a 105, 110, kicks a couple of goals? Like this, again, nothing's guaranteed. So I'd be banking the Rosie VC. Jaiden said, hey, guys, who do I trade Bolton to Sam Darcy or Dylan Moore? Can't do Mills. I've got no DPP available. Could get him to McRae or Petrarca type, but I would have to miss Dawson. So, Taezer, would you go one of Dylan Moore or Sam Darcy if it allows you to get Dawson, or would you get McRae and get maybe a Bont, for example, if they've got a Bont, don't have a Bont or something like that?
No, I think Dawson's more important. So that's got to be the main kind of focal point. Okay. And then I think I'd be fine with either Dylan Moore or Sam Darcy. Neither of them are going to hopefully be in your side at the end of the year. I haven't probably deep dived into the draw well enough for Dylan Moore to know how much of a knockout pick he is, but I'm fine with both of them.
He's got North this week.
Yeah. His run coming up, so he's got North, St Kilda, Fremantle, Port Adelaide, Carlton. So it's not a bad 5-week stretch.
That's a great run.
That's a good run.
And then he's got Adelaide, Collingwood, Melbourne, and Brisbane to finish.
But you could look to trade him out then. Like he's probably Dylan Moore and both of them, to be fair, are in a group of about 5 or 6 guys who are going to be in the F6 mix, and you might have 2 of them by the end of the year that you loop in between. Or even a Brent Daniels, if and when he gets back, who's going to be at 500k, and everyone's going to have him. Like they're going to be all in the mix.
He's going to be 700k in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So I don't mind Dylan. I like Dylan. I probably would go Dylan Moore over Darcy, but that might be my bias of Dylan Moore costing me a car.
I was early in the week. I think I was Darcy over Dylan Moore, but I think with the fact that Dylan Moore's break even is 42. Like, you're going to get cash gen from him. And if he pumps out these hundreds, you keep him. But if he doesn't, he just goes at this 85, 90 for a few weeks. He'll make money for you. You can trade him out to someone that you like. Maybe it's a Matt Kennedy if you haven't got him yet, or if it's to someone like a McRae. Is he 50
grand cheaper than Darcy?
It's 29. Is it 20, okay. 28k difference between the two. So they're very close together. But yeah, I think I'd just Dylan Moore. But I like both. But yes, I think Taezer, you're the free man. I think Bolton's got to go. Agreed.
Yeah. Even when he was a good pick, there was a few people I said, look, he's a streaky scorer. It doesn't matter his role and his matchup. Like, sometimes he gets good scores in tough matchups and awful scores in games that he should be dominating. It's the kind of player he is, and
Gene R. Bailey Dale VC. Definitely not this week. Definitely not. I think James Jordan goes to him. And you just don't want guys like that with the risk of a tag. I know we're looking at Dacos, right? But I think there's more chance of Jordan going to Dale tonight. So I would be steering clear of that one. Moonboy asking for Mills versus McKercher and money. I think we said before we'd be going McKercher and have a little bit of money left over. Geez, a lot of questions flying through here. I thought I was doing okay keeping up with them, but we got a fair bit here. Moonboy saying smash up likes, over 100 per watching, 12 likes. Thank you, mate. I need to put you as a moderator, I reckon, with all these streaming stuff. But yes, if you are tuning in, make sure you do smash a like on the video. Connor van der Ploeg has got this question. Tom, do we prioritise trades this week to have 22 proper players next week onwards, or can we look at focusing on getting 21 good primos and loop that last spot between McCarthy, Liddy, Johnson, and Rouston?
McCarthy, Liddy, Johnson, Rouston. And I said this on the Q&A on Tuesday. It depends who these 21 are. If your 21st is Sam Doherty, and your 20th is Petraka, and your 19th is... I've got Jai Newcomb, so let's say Jai Newcomb is a bit random player. Then you can do 21. But if you've got your McKercher, Mills, Doherty, Isaac Rankin, Caleb Daniel, no, you can't. Get 22. It depends how good those 21 have to be almost top of the line to deal with a 50-60.
Yeah.
Because we've seen these are all rookies. And we've seen 1 week from McCarthy. We think McCarthy's going to be great. We've seen 1 week. We thought Johnson was going to be great. Dropped to 40.
And we've seen from Liddy as well. Liddy's going to be a good 60 sort of ish player, but I don't think we're going to see these 80s, 90s from him.
He was everywhere and scored 60.
Yeah, Rouston's the one probably to look at, but then he could be sub with Cogs maybe back and a few guys. So just it's something to watch. I don't think Rouston will, but I think Rouston's playing really well. It's clearly a role change where Bedford's playing forward more. Rouston's coming to the mids, but it'll be interesting to see with the bye week, do they keep going with that? But to your point there, Tom, I was just going to quickly say, Taezer, you go.
Sorry, mate, for the delay over in WA. I was just going to say the one way you could do it is if you're cashing up and you got a few $100,000, so you're kind of locking in that you can upgrade that trade next week. But as Tom was saying, if your 21st player is someone like Sam Doherty, well, we've just talked about how there's a really high possibility he's going to get dropped. So it means next week one of your trades has to be fixing up Sam Doherty, and then you're not going to have another trade to do an upgrade. So it kind of depends who you've got, because even if you've got the money and you've got a 900K player, well, you might have to burn a trade on getting him up.
Yeah, or an injury. No, very, very good point. And and I'm looking at my own team. I had that decision this week. I could have gone a Long and a Bergman to a Butters and Anderson, right? That was what I was looking at. I'm glad I didn't do that because I would have lost points doing the Bergman to Butters trade. But I've bringing in Mills this way. I got Mills, I got McKercher, on field, but I've also got Ned Long, Doherty. I got Warner, who I want to move off eventually. Caleb Daniel, probably someone I'd like to move up to a McRae or whatever, or a Kennedy if I can. So I'm looking at those guys and going, well, I don't think I've got a few of those guys I want to move on. I want to get last rookie off field, and I'd rather have no rookies instead of going for the actual 21. So, that would be, I think that's a good discussion for that one there. Will Byte says, best cheap rookie for Loman under 723K, is it West or Butler? I think if you've got the money, I don't mind Sam Butler as an alternative to Dewar because he's out. Tom, what do you think of Butler if you need some cash in, right? If you need the money to upgrade, I think you just get West, right? But if you need the money to cash gen, is it Butler?
Okay, so break even of 8.
He's played some midfield time, which has been good.
He's played some midfield. He kind of plays almost the old Dylan Moore role, when Dylan Moore's becoming more of that, instead of push up, just full-time mid that starts on that on the half forward flank. I think it depends on your cash situation of your side. If you have good cash in everywhere else and or a good team value, I think you go West, gamble a little bit, and see if he can be a 230K who does well, and use that extra 200K now. But if you think you're going to struggle with cash gen, or you have a low team value, I think you go Butler for that little bit more job security. Maybe the more point might get a loopable score at some point. I don't like paying up on the bench unless it's someone I think is going to be actually loopable. Like I'm talking about a 23rd premium vibe I like. But if it's I wasn't huge on Dewar either, so I'm probably not huge on Butler.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah, as you said, low team value. I think if you've got low team value, I think you can go there. But yeah, if you save the money, if you've already got like a Loman on the bench, or even another forward, like even an Archer May, for example, I think you can. That's why I got Auger last week. I was happy just to go, well, there's not any forward rookies coming through. I'll take a chance on someone that might get some gains in the back half. So maybe just take the chance on Charlie West, save that 200K and use to upgrade. We'll go a bit of rapid fire. There's a lot of questions going here, a lot of sort of option ones. So Laura Goodall says Bont or Josh Dacos, Taezer. Is it just you just go? She says currently Josh Dacos on field with run and low break even could get Bont next week. So is it just a case of lower break even for Dacos? You get him this week, get Bont next week.
I don't dislike either players. I'm bringing in Dacos this week, and I brought in Bont a few weeks ago. But I just think Bont, like maybe it's what he's done over the time, but like Bont can get away from you really quickly. I know he's got a higher break even, but like, would anyone be surprised if he goes 130 tonight and his 250th game, and then backs it up by also going, big? Like I brought him in for that game. He got the tag, and maybe it was probably silly in hindsight, but part of it was because I just thought, who cares if Windhager goes to him? It's Bont, and Bont just does Bont stuff.
I think that for me, I'd like the Josh Dacos this week, because if you're going to get Bont next week because of the West Coast run and low break even, go there. Particularly if you haven't got all your rookies off field and you're like, next week I'm going my last rookie up to Bont. We just don't know with Carnage what will happen. So then I would go Bont. But if you've got 22 primos on field and you're like, if I need to sideways a primo next week, it's fine. You can just get Bont anyway. I would go that way. But I agree. If you're not guaranteed to get Bont next week, I would just lock him in, because he's a guy that, with some good matchups in the back part of the year, all the games at Marvel, I think, as you say, could get away from you pretty quickly. And I think he'll be over $1 million within the next month. So I would look there and see what happens there. Chris saying Cherry averages 109 at UTAS as well. So hopefully, yes, he can go. Well, I think he scored exactly 109 against Hawthorn at UTAS last year, but it was raining. I remember that game.
I think UTAS is Hawthorn's ground, so that's probably his only game he's played.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, no. That might be a really good shout. Actually, that might be why he's averaging 109 at Utah. Yeah, he's played one game at the venue and scored 109. So yeah, there you go. Chris. That's why he's averaging 109.
North play at Hobart.
Yeah. No, yeah. I can understand why Chris got.
He has a good record on Tassie, though. He has a very good record on Tassie.
Yes,
in Tassie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
He wasn't the totally horrendous. Yeah, played at venue 1.
Yeah, he's only averaging 79 at Ninja Stadium, but obviously we'd have to look at the numbers from last year. And
he got a 25 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, so I wouldn't look at that average either. He went pretty well against them there. Zach Howes, Mills and Cash or Anderson in this week? Currently thinking Anderson. Again, I think this comes down to what your team's looking like. Zach, if you've got your rooks all off field, I would get Anderson in. If that 200 or 200K is going to help you upgrade the last rookie next week, then maybe Mills and Cash. But I think Anderson, good matchups. Mills won't get away from you. I'd get Anderson this week and watch Mills. But yeah, probably team dependent for that one there. Footy Frenzy, Tom, you mentioned it about before. You might look away from Dacos VC. Footy Frenzy asking Dacos or Anderson VC. So Anderson's in my top 5 against Melbourne. There's a chance he gets attention as well, but I think there's less chance he gets.
I'm thinking he gets Viney.
And Oliver goes with Rao.
No, I think he goes Viney. I think he goes Anderson. I think Rao's just too big for Viney.
No, that's what I said. Yeah, Oliver goes with Rao and Viney goes with Anderson.
Anderson's been scoring a lot of his. He's been different this year. He's been scoring a lot of points around stoppage. He used to be the 8-9 mark guy who'd get the outside ball, but he's been not getting that many marks at the minute. I think I'm doing Dacos over Anderson, because I just think Dacos is that slightly better fantasy scorer. So if they've both got a slight tag risk, I'd sooner go Dacos. But I wouldn't. If you want to go Anderson, I'm not going to talk you out of it. If you're come.
Can I raise who the last person I remember Brady Hoff tagging? It was Bad Smith.
And he went 140 odd, didn't he? 140 something.
Yeah.
So,
but he did do a decent job on somebody. I can't remember who that somebody was, but he has done a couple of half decent jobs, and I will get back to you when I find the game.
So I'm like looking here when he's been in the mids, he would have gone to where he's got
Dawson
St
and
Kilda.
failed miserably.
Yep. Then he had Baz. Then he had North Melbourne, and then he was out. So I'm not sure. Maybe it might have been before that. But yeah, I think I still like Dacos, so I'd be going there. But I don't mind Ans if you want to be a little bit unique. Well, Lucas said thoughts on Grundy VC. I do like Grundy tonight. I think he goes well. He just missed out my top 5, but he's someone I also do really like. So if you want to have a chance on someone, I think Grundy is someone I'd be looking at. And then Callum says, which ruck would you get for Gawn, Marshall, or Jackson? I'm just against trading Gawn now. If you held him through his bye, you're holding him now. And Marshall is now double teamed against Freo, and then Jackson's now got Darcy in. And if you're going to like a Grundy or an English or something that's like 100K, like, I don't think it's worth it. You want Gawn back in 4 weeks anyway when he's got that really good run to finish. He's someone I want in my team to end the year because I haven't owned him all year. So I'm against trading him. Angus McGregor saying, Laird with 2 easy matchups, defender kicker matchups in a row, or McRae. This pains me. Every fibre in my being pains me saying against Lairdy, but I'm going McRae. Like I said this early in the season, and it's actually come to really to pass, and it's been accurate. And I'm not surprised myself because I know Lairdy inside and out. He goes 6 games. 4 of them will be in the 90s. 1 of them will be sub 90, and 1 of them will be over 105. It's just that's the way that he is. So, and that's pretty much what he did in the 6-game stretch. He went his last 6 games: 94, 95, 110. There's the ton. 95, 64. There's the sub ton, and then 98. So there you go. That's my answer. And I go McRae as a forward. If Laird was a forward, I'm interested. But Laird's a defender. There's so many defenders going over 100 this year. Good draft option. And if you want some fun, if you love Lairdy like me, then go for Lairdy. But I'm McRae. What do we got here?
So Tom McCartan is a late out.
Yes. Sorry. Thank you. No.
Yeah. Tom McCartan is a late out for Sydney. Buller is in for his debut.
No, he played a game last year, I believe.
Anyway, he's in. If we care about where people are named, Mills has gone to fullback.
Yeah, there you go. And you got Florent as the sub as well.
Florence the sub and Buku's the sub. And
I remember Callum Mills playing on Tom Hawkins, I think a year or 2 ago.
Yeah. Oh, please don't tell me they're going to do that again. Mills on Dart. No, there's no chance.
It's quite a small back 6. It's what
I think what someone
shouted. Going to Darcy. Blakey will go to Norton.
I think Francis is probably going to go into defence. I think he's named in the forward line, but I think he'll go there and they'll just play a small because they got Buller there already in McLean. So I think that Francis will play in defence, maybe on a Norton or something, and go there. Maybe Blakey plays tall for a week, but I don't think. Surely Mills isn't going to play.
That's a really tall front 6 for Sydney.
Yeah.
McLean, Hayward, Francis, and Buller is very tall.
The fantastic Jordy Descendant just sent me a message saying that Harry Boyd has not been named for Sandringham, so he is a travelling emergency, it seems.
Yeah. I think that I don't want to get too scared about Marshall just yet because that happened the last time. I think it's just more
emergency. It's in Perth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's in Perth. So I think that's why. So we had this last week. But then again, probably when we're not expecting it is when they'll go, boy, his name. So, just something to eye on. But, yeah.
Just watch your loops. That's all you have to do with that. Just watch your loops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I wouldn't be, if you've got Marshall, I'm not trading him out or anything like that. So I wouldn't be doing that. We got Jesse again from the Content Fantasy Footy podcast saying Flanders is 88 last week enough to jump early as an alternative to Mills or need to see another week. I need to see another week. I still think that he is this role change is something that's happening. I think that there's a clear, instead of deep 50, it's more between the arcs and there's that extra mid. I said if it gets you a Dawson or a Bont or something like that, I don't mind going there if you want to take a punt because you can loop with McCarthy and Flanders. But in a perfect world, I want to see another week. I'd be going Mills. So I'm there. But Flanders, if you don't have him on your radar, 650 odd K is someone that you've got to be looking at for sure.
He was only an 88, guys.
Yeah.
It's an 88. Hopefully next week is one of your worst scores.
Yeah.
I
think it's more his 28 disposals. I'm pretty sure he got, or 29, something like that.
It's really good, but
yeah, no,
we need to see it.
I agree, and his value at 650. But if he scores well, like if he goes 90, even if he goes 120 and has a real
still under 120,
score,
still under 700.
He's still under 700, and he still represents value. So yeah, you only want him if he can go 90 plus. Like otherwise, he's not. I'm just not interested in if he can't go 90 plus. So yeah, he
could be a 23rd option if you fancy it, but yeah, I'm not there yet.
Doug Fitzpatrick saying, waiting 1 week on McCarthy to get 22 primos plus need everyone I can get Zorko, Merritt, Clark to Dacos and ×2 and Mills. For me, I'm against anyone that's fading McCarthy. You just have to get him. I don't think there's any world where there's a reason why he can't, because he scored 101 before the bye. I'm not saying he's going to turn up again, but he's got the ability to put up a good score. If you're going Merritt, Zorko, Clark, just don't do Zorko to Mills, sorry. Just do, if you can go Clark to Dacos, one of the Dacos, Merritt to another Dacos and go rookie down to McCarthy, lock those in. If you can't do both those, maybe just do 2 rookies down and maybe even a Merritt sideways to Nick Dacos.
Yeah. You don't need 22 primos this week.
Yeah. I think it's been 22 primos in terms of moving forward.
Yeah. I think you're the situation where you want to do that upgrade next week.
Yeah, cash up. Get McCarthy, carry in 400, 500, 600, however much you need to next week to guarantee that. But do not miss McCarthy. He might go up 100,000. He might go up more than that. Mills, if Mills goes 110, 120, which I think is unlikely against the doggies, and he's still only going to go up 40, 50K.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't miss McCarthy. Tony saying, is Josh Dacos and Mills to play? I have a complete team. I think that answers it. I think it's Josh Dacos. Agree there, Taezer?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I agree.
Yeah, and I know that Tom put his the thumb up as well, so we're on agreement there. A couple more questions before we wrap up. Archie saying, thoughts on Jackson after Darcy is named in the side. So yeah, Tom, you're obviously, Taezer said he's not too concerned. You're not too concerned either, but is that enough? I think you said, is that probably enough to maybe steer away from bringing him in?
I'm not concerned, but I'm also definitely, I would not bring him in. He's priced at 100. I don't even see him going 100 sharing.
Yeah,
I see him a little bit below. That's absolutely fine if you own him. I'm not trading. I'm not saying trade. It's definitely a hold, but he's definitely not a bring. I'd sooner have a McRae, a Darcy, or a Moore. Yeah, especially with the value in those bottom 2.
Sneaker Fusion, best mid under 800K. I don't think there's any mids under 800K. Like the best option was McKercher, or if you've already got McKercher, put a defender mid in your midfield and go get Mills, something like that. One of Mills and McKercher, put defender in your mids.
I forgot Mills. Mills is definitely the best. Well, Mills and McKercher, they're your best 2.
Yeah, I think McKercher
Mills,
1, Mills
McKercher,
2.
Flanders, and you could probably. Is there any forwards that you can think of? Like, is Moore's just over 800, isn't he?
Yeah. If you can get Moore, I wouldn't mind Moore as like a pseudo top 6 member, if you're, depending on how your forward line's looking. Otherwise, it's more on Mills for me. I'm not as hot on McKercher now, but those 3, 100%.
Yep. Sneaker Fusion saying cheers, just asking as it gets a rookie off field. So yeah, if you don't have Mills or McKercher, and if you can't get more, if you're looking at just the best one, you've got the other 3, I would then just cash up for next week, and then you get the better upgrade. But yeah, McKercher, Mills, and more are solid if you can get there. Final 2 questions will go. John Sanders, would you go Butler banking 227K or West banking 429K? So Taezer, is 227K enough to get Butler in, do you think? Or would you be just banking and going West?
Yeah, look, I think it depends what the rest of your team looks like. So with my team, I would probably go West because Butler's not going to be anywhere near my team after this week. He's probably only going to be 19th, 20th scorer this week. So is it really worth, is it really worth 200 grand? And then he becomes someone you've got to trade out in a couple of weeks to get the cash off his head. So I think going down to West makes more sense unless, if he's on field or, I still think West is probably a better option.
Yeah,
I think maybe so. But alter another trade. If you've got 400 in the bank, you could maybe, instead of trading a
Merritt or someone like that sideways, maybe go rookie up.
Yeah, you might be able to do a Clark or a Johnson maybe and keep that extra premium.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I like it. Matt's got the final question. Tom, hide behind best 18 with Chera and Liddy as 18th, 19th scorer, or trade Myers to get another scorer over Mills means I've got 21 next week, so 21 press, so one obviously still rookie on field. If you've got Chera and Liddy on your field already, do you maybe attack to try and trade Myers?
I assume you've got McCarthy as your 20th. If McCarthy's in 17, I think you have to trade the premium. If McCarthy's 20th, I think 60 is fine as your 18th scorer. Yeah. People are going to struggle this week.
Yeah.
If we get a couple of premiums, we've got Butters, who's not scored well. We've got Chera, who's not scored well. We've got Liddy with a 60. It's decent for a rookie, but not a great scorer. Horn Francis, these are all popular players already after one game. A 60 at 18th player is not going to kill you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked tonight if Chad Warner put up a bad. I know it's his 100th game. I'm hoping he goes well, but I wouldn't be shocked if Buller's there and make it clean. But if Francis gone forward, wouldn't be shocked if Warner plays a bit more forward tonight and puts up a not a great score. But I'm hopeful that he goes well. And we'll wrap up here with this one. So Will Bite was saying, Buzz, if I subscribe to the Patreon, can you give me trade tips for this week? Yes, mate. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon, you get a team review every week through the Ask and Q service. So if you subscribe there, you get that all for free. And then you also get Patreon Q&As every week, answering all the questions that Patreons submit. And there'll be bonus content stuff throughout the remainder of the season as well. So if you'd like to do that, or anyone else for that matter, if you'd like team reviews, Q&As, everything like that, all that is in the link in the description below. Just subscribe on the Patreon and you can get involved in all of that stuff. But that will wrap us up here. I'll be live in about 24 minutes time for a watch long for tonight's game. So if anyone wants to relax, sit down and watch the footy and see me hopefully happy, but maybe get angry at Warner playing deep forward or Mills playing on Sam Darcy or maybe Bont's getting tagged by Robo. I'm not going well. So I'm a bit nervous with the three players, as you can tell from tonight's game. If you want to see that, tune in tonight very, very shortly.
And Bales, I hear that anyone who makes a $50 donation, you'll have another shot.
Hey, if the listeners want it, then they can do it. But I'm not going to guarantee for every $50. I've done that once. That was good. I don't want people getting the wrong idea, thinking I'm some alcoholic and just wanting to do it for all that. But who knows? Maybe if we get some super chats, who knows? We might get crazy. But that is all for tonight. But appreciate everyone tuning in. If you haven't already, as I said, subscribe to Patreon, or if you are tuning in live, make sure you do smash a big old thumbs up on the video. Takes 2 seconds. Very much appreciated, and it helps us out a whole bunch. And subscribe if you haven't already. But for Taezer, if anyone missed before, your trades and your VC&C.
Yeah, so with my VC&C, I'm probably going to go a straight bet, Nick Dacos into Jordan Dawson. And my trades, I'm looking at Angus Clark down to Tom McCarthy, and then Whitfield sideways to Josh Dacos, and that gives me the cash to go Kai Lohman up to Jake McRae.
Yeah, I like it. And then VCC?
Dacos and Jordan, yeah.
Mate, did I miss? I might have missed you saying that, mate. Yeah, sorry, mate. Might have just cut out for a bit there, but no, all good. Good. Very, very nice. Tom, your trades in VCC.
Yeah, my trades, Angus Clark down to Tom McCarthy, as with Taezer. Lockie Whitfield to Josh Dacos, as with Taezer. But I don't have the 300k in the bank that Taezer does, so I'm doing Will Ashcroft up to Jordan Dawson. And my B, C, and C, at the minute, it's on Dacos into Dawson. I might do something a little bit spicy, depending on how I feel tomorrow night. I might do like a Dawson into Brayshaw or a Cherry into Dawson, depending on if I'm feeling a bit frisky. But
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your VC and C? No, I'm joking. So my trades, Clark to McCarthy, as we're all doing as well. I've gone Johnson down to Liddy, and then Foss is going up to Callum Mills. So all my rookies are off field, which does feel nice. And then VCC is Nick Dacos and Jordan Dawson as my VC and C. So that is what we're rolling with. Yes, but beautiful guys. Thank you very much for jumping on tonight. So Taezer, where can the people find you, mate? Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. At Taezer87 on Twitter is probably the best way to catch me if you want to.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. And Tom, mate, where can the people find you? Thanks for jumping on as well.
Yeah, I'm a Tom_Hales_.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. And you can find me at BAILSDT and us at AFL Fantasy Fans across the socials. As I said, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Join the Patreon if you'd like to do that. And if you want to tune in for the watch on, because I know Footy Frenzy asking about a watch on tonight. Yes, there is. 21 minutes, Tom. I'll be live for the watch on tonight. So head on over there and let's watch hopefully some good scores from our players tonight. Good luck this week, everyone. Hope you guys smash out a big score. We'll be back on Sunday night after the final game of the round, which that one is at 5:10 Eastern. So I'd say that we're going to be live at about 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. per time. I'm trying to get those in my head there. So it'll be live then, but we'll tweet it all out. You guys will know when we're live anyway. But as I said, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. Smash out a good score. We'll catch you guys on Sunday night for our final buy round review. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. See ya.
See ya.